Okay, class, we're about to start lesson 9, slope and equations. It starts off by saying use the slope-intercept form to find an equation. Now, first thing that we need to determine is what exactly is the slope-intercept. So the slope-intercept form, you may have seen this before, but it is y equals mx plus b. This is the slope-intercept form. Now, if you notice, in our last lesson, we dealt with slope, which was denoted by m. So this lets you know m is still your slope. So whatever your slope is, that is what m represents. And b will be a new concept to some of you all, which is called the y-intercept. Now, let me explain this to you all. First of all, we need to take a little time and go over the x and y-intercept. X-intercept, when written as an ordered pair, the x-intercept is equal to, it'll be whatever your x value is, and your y would be 0. So whatever your x value is, y would be 0. And your y-intercept is your x value would be 0, and then whatever your y value is. This is the x and y intercept. Now, on a graph, the easiest way to tell what your x-intercept and y-intercept is when you look at a graph, when a line hits the x-axis, that is your x-intercept. When a line hits the y-axis, that is your y-intercept. So now, taking this knowledge, and then, well, with the y equals mx plus b form, the x and the y values is whatever your x and y values are inside of an ordered pair. So now we're asked this question here. Let's look at example 1. It says use the slope-intercept form to find the equations of the line that has slope m equals 4 and passes through the point -1, -6. So now with this example 1, we have the ordered pair -1, -6, and we're also given the slope, which the slope was given as 4. So we take this equation, y equals mx plus b. So now we substitute. We'll substitute in -1 for x, -6 for y. And then for the slope, we'll put 4. So now all we're really doing is solving for b. So now we have -6 is equal to 4 times -1, which is -4 plus b. We will add 4 on both sides. And -6 plus 4 is -2. And -2 is equal to b. So now what we would do, we will go back to the y equals mx plus b form. And we will substitute in for everything except for the x and the y. We know that our slope was 4. So we'll have y is equal to 4x plus, and b would be -2. So it'd be plus a -2. And we know we can rewrite that as y equals 4x minus 2. This would be your equation, written in slope-intercept form. So now, the next thing we look at here is the point-slope form to find an equation. Now, the point-slope form has its own equation, and it's a little bit different than the slope-intercept form. So now, this is what we're going to do. So point-slope formula is y minus y sub 1 is equal to the slope times x minus x sub 1. Okay, now, again, the x and the y will be a point of whatever coordinate you have. Well, actually, it's the x1 and y1. The x1 and y1 would be the point of the coordinate you have. And then the slope is the slope, and then you will solve for x or y. Okay, so now it says here, let me see, it tells you to follow those steps, but let's go Okay, we have example 2. It says use the point slope form to find the equation of the line that passes through the point 4, 3 and has a slope of 2. So we had a point 4, 3 and a slope of 2. Now, we're going to go through and substitute. So we know this is x1 and y1. So we have y minus y1 is 3 is equal to the slope, which is 2, times x minus x1, which is 4. Okay, so we have y minus 3 is equal to 2 times x minus 4. Okay, so now what they want us to do here, this would be finished in point slope form. It says notice that you can simplify the equation to find slope intercept form. So according to what these directions ask us to do first, this would be our final answer for point slope form. But if they want us to take it further to put it in slope intercept form, which we know is y equals mx plus b, this is what we would do. We would take this equation, y minus 3 is equal to 2 times x minus 4, and then we would try and get y by itself. So we have y minus 3, we'll do the distributive property, it'll be 2x plus 2 times negative 4, and then we have y minus 3 is equal to 2x minus 8. We'll add 3 on both sides, and y will equal 2x minus 5. And that would be slope intercept form. So either form is fine, depending on what the directions is asking you to do. But I would say this, if I had to choose a form between the two, like for instance, if we were asked to do a specific form, if we were not asked to do a specific form, usually the most popular one is the slope intercept form. So I just want you to be conscious of that. Okay, so now we're going to go through and do some problems here. Now, this shouldn't be too bad, but we will get this done. So let's start here. It says use the slope intercept form, y equals mx plus b, to find the equation of the line that passes through the given point and has the given slope. Okay, so we're trying to find the equation using a y equals mx plus b form. So we got problem number 1. We have 1, negative 2. And then we have the slope is equal to negative 4. So our formula is y equals mx plus b. So now we go through and substitute with all we have. So negative 2 would be y, the slope would be negative 4, and x would be 1. And then plus b. So we have negative 2 is equal to negative 4 plus b. So we would add 4 on both sides, and we had 2 is equal to b. So now all we have to do is go through and substitute the slope and the y-intercept into this original equation. So we have y equals negative 4x plus 2. And this will be our equation. All right, now the next thing, number 2. We have the ordered pair, negative 1, negative 4, and the slope is 2. So we go back to our y equals mx plus b, and then we'll substitute. We have negative 4 for y, we have 2 for the slope, and negative 1 for x. So we have negative 4 equals negative 2 plus b. You add 2 on both sides. Negative 4 plus 2 is negative 2, and that equals to b. So we know b is negative 2 and our slope is 2. So we'll substitute. So we have y equals 2x, and then that'll be minus 2. So now we go on to problem number 3. Problem number 3, the point is negative 4, 2, and then our slope is a negative 1/3. Now you know we always got to slide a fraction in every so often. So we're going to slide that in. So now we have the equation y equals mx plus b, and we substitute. 2 goes in for y. The slope is negative 1/3, and then x is 4 plus b. So we add 2 is equal to, now we could put this 1 under the 4. This will give us negative 4 over 3 plus b. Now, we have to get b by itself. So what we would do is add 4/3 to both sides. So 2 plus 4/3, and this would just equal to b because these will simplify each other out. Now listen, we could do this one of two ways. Now 4/3, we could rewrite that as 1 1/3. Now we went over improper fractions before, so you know 4/3 is really 1 1/3. So what we could do here, we could say 2 plus 1 1/3. 2 plus 1 1/3 is 3 1/3 equals to b. Now, of course, here's the issue. Since we want to substitute this into an equation, we know that we're not going to put a mixed number there. So we'll rewrite this as an improper fraction. Now, our improper fraction here, our denominator will remain 3, but our numerator will be 3 times 3, which is 9 plus 1 is 10. So it'll be 10/3 is equal to b. So now we're going to need to write our equation. We have y equals, the slope is a negative 1/3. So we have negative 1/3 x plus 10/3. And that will be your equation. Okay, now, that took care of the slope-intercept form. Now we want to look here at point-slope form. And they just want us to do point-slope form. They did not ask us to do slope-intercept form after that. So what I'm going to do is I want to be able to have a little bit more space here. Alright, so now we're going to go to problem number 4. Problem number 4, it says we have 0.21 and the slope is 3. So we'll do y minus y sub 1 is equal to the slope times x minus x sub 1. So now we'll go through and substitute. y1 is 1, so we have y minus 1 is equal to the slope is 3 times x minus x1 is 2. So this will end up being y minus 1 is equal to 3 times x minus 2. And right here is your answer in point slope form. Okay, next, problem number 5. Problem number 5, we have ordered pair at 2, 0. And then we have a slope of negative 1/3. So we have y minus y sub 1 is equal to m, or the slope times x minus x sub 1. Now we have to substitute. Okay, so when we substitute, we have y minus y sub 1 is 0 is equal to the slope, which is negative 1/3, times the parenthesis of x minus, and then x sub 1 is 2. So y minus 0 is y, negative 1/3, and then in parentheses we have x minus 2. And that right there is your answer in point slope form. Okay, number 6. Number 6, we have the ordered pair 1, negative 2, and then we have the slope is 1. So we have y minus y sub 1 is equal to the slope times x minus x sub 1. Now we substitute. Y minus y sub 1 is a negative 2. The slope is 1. And then x minus x sub 1, which is 1. So y minus a negative 2 is y plus 2. And that's equal to, this would be 1 times x minus 1. Now we know we don't have to leave this 1 here. So we could write y plus 2 is equal to 1 times this parenthesis will just be x minus 1. So you got y plus 2 is equal to x minus 1. All right, now we come here to problems 7, 8, and 9. It says find the equation of the line that passes through the given points. Write your answer in slope-intercept form. Now, if you look at this, they want it in slope-intercept form. We know slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. Now, if you notice with problems 7, 8, and 9, none of them have a slope. So what we need is just a slope and 1 point, and then we would be able to solve this problem. So this is what we would do. First things first, we're going to find the slope. So with number 7, we have negative 5, comma 3, and then 1, comma 1. So slope formula, you know, is y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. So we have our slope. Y sub 2 is 1 minus y sub 1 is 3. All over x sub 2 is 1 minus x sub 1 is negative 5. So 1 minus 3 is negative 2. 1 minus a negative 5 we know becomes 1 plus 5. And we know that's 6. So this would be a negative 2 over 6. And we know when we simplify that by dividing both by 2, that would give us a negative 1/3. So your slope here is a negative 1/3. Now we have our slope. All we need is one more point. So what I would do, it doesn't matter which one of these you pick, but if I was doing this problem, I would pick the one that has the lower numbers, because those are easier to deal with. So now I would do my y equals mx plus b, and I would substitute what I have. Okay, first of all, we know our slope is a negative 1/3, and then we chose this second order pair here. So y would be 1, your slope would be a negative 1/3, and your x would be 1. So you have 1 is equal to negative 1/3 times 1 is a negative 1/3 plus b. We add 1/3 to both sides. This will be 1 and 1/3 is equal to b. Now we have to change this 1 and 1/3 to an improper fraction. We know our denominator will remain 3, and our numerator would be 4, because 1 times 3 is 3 plus 1 is 4. So 4/3 is equal to b. So now we can write our equation. We have y is equal to, the slope is a negative 1/3, so m would be negative 1/3 x, and then plus b, which is 4/3. So that is your equation. Okay, now, if you need to rewind and go over this, feel free to do it. Okay, so now we go to problem number 8. Problem number 8, we had negative 3, 0. And we have negative 2, 4. So we'll start this off the same way as we did problem number 7. We will first find the slope. So we have m is equal to y sub 2 minus y sub 1 all over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. So now we substitute. Y sub 2 is 4 minus y sub 1 is 0 all over x sub 2 is negative 2 minus x sub 1 is negative 3. 4 minus 0 is 4, and then we have negative 2 plus 3. Okay, so now our slope, we will have 4 over negative 2 plus 3 is just 1, and then so our slope would be 4. So now we have our slope. Now we could pick one of these two to be the ordered pair we need. We need one ordered pair, one coordinate, and the slope. So I'll pick this one because I think this is the easier of the two. So then I would have my ordered pair would be negative 3, 0, and my slope would be 4. So now we could do the slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. So now we would substitute. Y would be 0, your slope is 4, and your x is -3 plus b. So we have 0 is equal to -12 plus b. So now we would have to add 12 on both sides. And so 12 would equal to b. So now we have our b and we have our m. We know our m was 4, our b is 12. Now we could rewrite this y equals mx plus b by substituting in the m and the b. The m is 4 and the b is 12. So that is your answer for number 8. Y equals 4x plus 12. Now we're going to go here to problem number 9. Problem number 9. We have the ordered pair -3, -4. And then we have the ordered pair 7, 1. Again, we do the slope. Y sub 2 is 1. Minus y sub 1 is -4. All over x sub 2 is 7. Minus x sub 1 is -3. 1 minus a -4 is 1 plus 4. And then 7 minus 3 is 7 plus 3. So this will give us 5 over 10. So now we have 5 over 10. We can simplify both by dividing them by 5. And that's 1/2. So your slope is 1/2. And we need to pick one of these ordered pairs. I probably would pick the second one because there's no negative signs there. So we will have y equals mx plus b. And now we substitute. Y is 1. Your slope is 1/2. And your x is 7 plus b. So we have 1 is equal to, we'll put a 1 under the 7. 1/2 times 7 over 1 is 7 over 2 plus b. We'll subtract 7 over 2 on both sides. And here this will simplify out to 0 and leave us b. Now, 1 minus 7/2. We know if we rewrote 1 to have a denominator of 2, this 1 would become 2 over 2. So we'll make this 1 2 over 2 minus 7 over 2. 2 over 2 minus 7 over 2 will give you a -5 over 2, which is b. So we have -5 over 2, which is b. So we have our y-intercept, and we had our slope from earlier, which was a positive 1/2. So now we can write our final answer. Y is equal to 1/2 times x minus 5/2. And that is it for problem number 9. Okay, now we go here to problem 10. It says choose the one best answer for each question. Which of the following is an equation for the line that passes through -1, 0 to -3? -1, 0 to -3. Now, with this here, we could just substitute in the values and see if they work. If both of them work, then we know that that would be a correct answer. But what we could do is what we just did in problem number 9. Let's find the slope. The slope would be -3 minus 0 all over 2 minus a -1. -3 minus 0 is -3. 2 minus a -1 is 2 plus 1. So it would be -3 over 3, which would give us -1. So your slope would be -1. And then I will grab this first ordered pair. And then now I will go through and substitute to find b. So we know we're trying to do y equals mx plus b. So now we substitute. Y is 0. The slope is -1. And x is -1 plus b. So this is 0 is equal to 1 plus b. Subtract 1 on both sides. And -1 is equal to b. So we have our y-intercept at -1, and our slope was -1. So our answer here would be y equals negative 1x minus 1. Now, typically we do not leave a 1 in front of a variable, so we'll write this as y equals negative x minus 1, which is C. So y equals negative x minus 1, so your answer is C. So now, that took care of problem number 10. Now we go to 11. It says, which of the following is an equation for the line that passes through negative 3, 4, and 1, 4? Okay, listen. Number 11 is a very nice problem. So negative 3, 4, and then we have 1, 4. Now, whenever you have a problem where your y values are exactly the same, in 2 ordered pairs, 3 ordered pairs, or whatever, if all of your y's are the same, then your answer is automatically y equals that number. And that would be B. And that's all you would have to do. If your y's are the same, it's y equal that number, and then that would be your final answer. Now, if it was x's that was the same number, then your answer would be x equals that number. So that's why number 11 was very nice and very easy. So now we come to number 12. It says, which of the following equations describe the same line as y minus 2? Y minus 2 is equal to 1/2 times x minus 6. So basically, if you look at your answer choices for number 12, you basically see that it's in y equals mx plus b form, or y-intercept form. And this right here is in point slope form. So we have to go through and change this. So we would do the distributive property here to be 1/2 times x plus 1/2 times a negative 6. So we have y minus 2 is equal to 1/2 x and 1/2 times a negative 6. Now we know half a negative 6 will give us a minus 3. So we really don't have to go through all of the steps with that. So now we will add 2 on both sides because we're trying to get y by itself. So y is equal to 1/2 x, negative 3 plus 2 will give you a minus 1. So your answer here would be D. Okay, now 13 is the last problem from this first section of 9. It says here, which of the following equations correctly describes the line on the graph? So what we should do here with number 13, we need to find 2 exact points on this line. And we have one here at negative 4, 0. And we have one here at 0, negative 4. So this is problem number 13. We said negative 4, 0. And then 0, negative 4. Those are our 2 points. Okay, so now, if we want to find the slope. So the slope, we will have y sub 2, which is negative 4, minus y sub 1, which is 0, all over x sub 2, which is 0, minus x sub 1, which is negative 4. So now we have our slope. Negative 4 minus 0 is negative 4. 0 minus a negative 4 would be 0 plus 4, which is 4. So our slope here would be negative 1. So now we have our slope, and we need to pick one of these values. I probably would pick the first one because that means that x would be negative 4. So we would do the first ordered pair. So we have the slope as negative 1. Then our first ordered pair is negative 4, 0. Now, we will put this in y equals mx plus b form. So we would do y is 0. Your slope is negative 1. Your x is negative 4 plus b. So it would be 0 equals 4 plus b. Subtract 4 on both sides, and negative 4 is equal to b. So our final answer would be y is equal to the slope is negative 1 times x, and then minus 4. So then again, we typically don't leave a 1 in front of the variable, so it'll just be negative x minus 4. So our answer here would be B. And that concludes the first section of Unit 9 and Chapter 6. I will post this on YouTube, and have a wonderful day.